Hello everyone, welcome to this series on the history of English literature, and in this video we are going to discuss literary features of the age of Milton. Introduction. The period following the Elizabethan era witnessed significant shifts in English literature. The high standards set during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I gave way to new trends, reflecting both a reaction to previous norms and the influence of historical events. These changes are evident in various literary forms, from poetry and prose to drama. The reaction. The decline from the Elizabethan literary peak is noticeable in several aspects. Reduction in poetic output. The volume of poetry produced during this period decreased, with a shift toward shorter poems, particularly lyrics of a distinctive nature. The grand, sweeping compositions of the Elizabethan age gave way to more concise and focused works. Diminished poetical fervor. The passionate intensity and depth that characterized Elizabethan poetry diminished. In its place, there was a greater emphasis on intellectual wit and playful fancy, rather than on profound emotional expression. A tone of matured melancholy, often associated with advancing years, permeated much of the literature, especially in prose. Increased prose activity. As poetry waned, prose flourished, a trend that often accompanies a decline in poetic creativity. The period saw a surge in the production of prose works, which explored a wide range of themes and topics. The pressure of historical events. The English Civil War, while a domestic conflict, had far-reaching effects on the nation's literature. The war's intensity and the division it caused among the people left an indelible mark on the literary output of the time. Bitter divisions. The Civil War split the nation into two hostile factions, each influenced the themes and tone of contemporary literature. The literature of the time often reflected the deep-seated conflicts and ideological divisions that the war exacerbated. Milton, the literary giant. In a period marked by relatively few literary greats, John Milton emerged as a towering figure. Prose contributions. Milton's prose writings, especially his controversial works, are considered among the finest in the English language. His arguments and rhetoric have had a lasting influence on English prose. Poetic achievement. Milton's poetry, particularly Paradise Lost, is generally regarded as second only to Shakespeare's in terms of greatness. His work stands out for its epic scope, intellectual depth, and mastery of language, securing his place among the very greatest English writers. The metaphysical poets. The metaphysical poets, a term coined by Dr. Johnson, represent a distinctive group of writers who were heavily influenced by John Donne. Lyrical and intellectual blend. Their poetry is known for its unique blend of passion and intellect, often merging deep emotional expression with complex, learned imagery. Their works are characterized by striking conceits and psychological insight, demonstrating subtle and intricate thought processes. Notable poets. The key figures in this movement include Richard Crashaw, George Herbert, Henry Vaughan, and Andrew Marvell. Their poetry is distinguished by its originality and depth, often exploring religious and mystical themes. The Cavalier poets. In contrast to the religious and intellectual focus of the metaphysical poets, the Cavalier poets such as Robert Herrick, Richard Lovelace, and Sir John Suckling dealt primarily with themes of love. Classical restraint. These poets followed the example of Ben Jonson, emphasizing classical restraint and clarity in their work. Their poetry is characterized by its simplicity, grace and polished style. Themes of love. The Cavaliers wrote poems that were often light, lyrical, and focused on the pleasures of love and life. Their work is noted for its elegance and refined expression, providing a contrast to the more serious and complex metaphysical poetry. The expansion of prose. The period saw a significant expansion in prose writing, continuing the developments of the previous era. Variety and volume. Despite the disruptions caused by the Civil War, prose output was prolific and diverse, encompassing sermons, pamphlets, history, politics, philosophy, and more. The period witnessed an improvement in prose style, with writers striving for clarity, precision, and expressiveness. Advancement in prose style. Prose became more sophisticated, with a notable refinement in the art of writing, contributing to the richness of English literature. The collapse of drama. The period also witnessed the decline of English drama, a genre that had flourished during the Elizabethan era. Impact of civil strife and Puritan opposition. The civil disturbances, coupled with the strong opposition of the Puritans to theatrical performances, led to a significant downturn in the production of dramatic works. The temper of the age was not conducive to drama, with the closing of the theatres in 1642 marking the end of an era. Milton's epic turn. Milton's greatest work, Paradise Lost, which might have been a drama in the Elizabethan period, took the form of an epic instead, reflecting the changing literary landscape. The actual dramatic output of the period was minimal and lacked the vitality and importance of the previous age. Conclusion. The age of Milton was marked by significant changes in English literature, with a noticeable decline in poetry and drama, contrasted by an expansion in prose. The influence of historical events, particularly the Civil War, shaped the themes and tones of the literature produced during this time. Despite the challenges, the era produced some remarkable works, most notably those of John Milton and the metaphysical and Cavalier poets, whose contributions continue to be celebrated in the annals of English literary history. So this was the discussion on the literary features of the age of Milton. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other topic. Until then, goodbye and thank you.